Hey
Hey, how's it
Nicholas,
going?
going good Nicholas. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thanks for having
Wonderful.
me.
My pleasure, Nicholas. So how was your day so far?
Today was, today was pretty good. I've just been working on ramping up to the release of this next single that we have coming out. So, it's been kind of a doozy, but it's been good. It's been good. How about yours?
Amazing. Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome, Nicholas. So good.
Good.
So, Nicholas, Hemophilia, your new album is to be out on September 16th. So can you tell me a
Yes.
bit about the songwriting and production behind this upcoming album?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Hemophilia is actually going to be our first remixed album. And it honestly kind of came to be because I felt that I wasn't really finished with the songs yet, to a certain extent. So honestly, I was just bored, and I sat down and started working on some remixes just for fun, and it just kind of, turned into a full album. And then I appreciate a remix album, but as a fan of a lot of artists that have put out remix albums, I
Mm.
I would really prefer to have some new material that isn't a remix on the album as well. So we recorded two covers. We did Animal, which is originally by Anti Nowhere League, and then we did Number One Crush, which is by Garbage, originally. And then we have another original song on it called Suicide Machine.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
And talking about the new songs in this album. So was it based on some particular concept or it just some random songs that you wrote?
Right. That's a good question. Uh, so I guess Suicide Machine I actually wrote probably about a year and a half ago. And we've actually been performing it live for quite some time already. And it came about right around the same time as the songs, some of the later songs on First Blood. So it really does tie into the same sort of, I guess, mood. I don't know, conceptually, not exactly, but because this song is more, societal commentary, rather than like a personal song.
Mm.
But it did come from the same kind of headspace and the same kind of mood. So I do think it fits really well. And the covers, so for Number One Crush, that was another one we've actually been performing for quite some time. And it just felt like it deserved a little more, a little more than just performing it at shows and never really recording it and releasing it. And then Animal, honestly, and it's funny because that is the first single and the first song we're going to release from this. Animal actually, probably just about 3 weeks ago, I recorded it out of nowhere. um, yeah, and then we have a video coming out for that as well. So it really that one just kind of took on a life of its own.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah,
And talking about the album, 11 amazing songs, beautifully done, great power
thank you,
with a blend of industrial sound. It's all sound fantastic as a
thank you,
complete album. So,
thank you, thank you.
as a band, what is your thoughts on this upcoming album? How do you feel about the outcome?
How do I feel about it? Uh, you mean how do I feel about just the album in general?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, thank you so much for all the kind words. No, I'm pretty proud of it. Like I said, it wasn't really something I'd always thought, oh, it would be cool to release a remix album just for fun because, I mean, they were a little bit before my time in the 90s, but Nine Inch Nails released a lot of remix albums around the time of Downward Spiral, especially, but throughout their career. And then also Manson had Smells Like Children. And I don't know, something about those was just so interesting to me. So I kind of modeled it after that kind of concept of having these songs that are remixes, but it really kind of gives a really interesting new take on the song and just recontextualizes it rather than just
Mm.
adding like a dance beat on top of the original song. So yeah, I'm really proud of it, honestly. And um, the video, especially Animal, that's coming out soon, that I'm also very proud of, because that really just, honestly, I thought of the concept at about 6 p.m. the day that we filmed it, and then we filmed it from 10 p.m. to midnight, and I edited the video the next day, and that was it. And it just, some things just kind of come to you, and it just kind of works immediately without you really having to make as much effort. And that was one of those things. So it felt really good, and I'm definitely proud of it. The whole band is really proud of it.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Yes. Yeah. And any particular plans on the day of the release on September 16th?
On September 16th, well, the plan is hopefully to release another video. So on September 2nd, we're going to be releasing Animal and the video as well. And then September 16th, we'll be releasing Suicide Machine as a single. And we plan to have a video for that. To be honest, the schedule has been a little bit crazy recently. So we have it about halfway filmed right now. It's just about, hopefully having the time to film it. But even if we don't finish it by the release date, it's still something I'd really love to release. But beyond that, just the typical promotional stuff for September 16th, definitely, maybe a live stream here or there, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Awesome. And have any touring has been scheduled so
far? Not any touring yet. We really hope to go on tour soon. We've kind of been looking at kind of a tri-state area tour. We're based in Brooklyn. And of course, if there are any bands that are looking for opening acts, we would always be open to doing it. It's more just about logistics at the current moment, since we do have, is it 5 or 6 members in the band right now? So it's a lot of schedules to work around, and a bunch of people are in more than one band. So it is a little bit difficult to work that out, but we're trying. We really are. We do have a show coming up this Saturday, actually, at Arlene's Grocery in New York. So that's exciting. It's actually going to be our first show in probably 2-3 months. So it's been a while. It'll be nice to be back on the stage and do some new songs as well.
Amazing. And formed in 2017. So how has the journey been for you so far?
It's been a journey. It's been really all over the place, to be honest with you. No, I mean, it started in 2017. It was more of a solo project at that point, and I was just in my bedroom with my MacBook, making synthesizer-based stuff that was probably more along the lines of Depeche Mode, and I really loved that material. But I always kind of knew that I wanted to do something a little heavier, something that would probably require a band. Unfortunately, at that point, at least, I did not know how to play a single instrument. I'd been singing, for probably about 15 years at that point, but I didn't know how to play guitar. I couldn't really play drums or bass or anything. And then I think about a year after that, I got my first guitar and kind of taught myself the basics, enough to compose on it. I don't play the guitar live generally, unless I absolutely need to, because I'm terrible at multitasking. So if I'm doing, singing and screaming and guitar at the same time, one of those things is going to sound really bad. So I have great guitarists that play live. But yeah, so I played around with the guitar for probably about a year before I started looking for band members. I started making some songs that really sounded like they were for full band. And with that material in mind, I just kind of started reaching out. As cliche as it might sound, most of the members I met online. And yeah, then it was just history from there. We went through a few lineup changes in the beginning, just because I think it's, it's hard to find a good fit, I think, and people who have the same kind of vision and goal. But I think now I have a great team of people. So
amazing.
Yeah.
And musically speaking, do you see a change in the musical direction in the coming days?
It's a good question. uh, oh goodness, I honestly haven't even thought about it. Um, if anything, I'd like it to be even heavier. Um, the thing is, I try really hard to keep it palatable to a wider audience, I suppose, because as much as I love metal and I love the subgenres of metal, I know a lot of it feels inaccessible, and so I really like to kind of keep the pop sensibilities, if you will, at least in terms of maybe like vocal melody
Mm.
or the way that things are mixed, just to make it more accessible. But that said, I would like to make the music even heavier if I can, and if that's what happens, sometimes the music kind of decides where it wants to go. Um, but yeah, so hopefully heavier. I think it's going to be probably a little bit more atmospheric. Some of the songs that I've started working on have been a little bit more, they've been heavier, but a little bit more atmospheric in the quiet moments. Whereas I feel like with First Blood, at least, I think it was a little less atmospheric and more just a little more straightforward for the most part. However, on Hemophilia, I think I kind of delved into that sort of creating that atmosphere and played around with that a little bit.
Amazing, amazing. And post release of the album, what would be some of the upcoming plans for you?
Oh, well, that's a great question. Honestly, I think just working on the next album. Um, so about 2 years ago, during quarantine, uh, I was staying with family in the middle of nowhere, and I actually wrote and recorded demos for an entire concept album, and that is what I'd really like to focus on next. Because it's basically all there. It's just about re-recording and adjusting things because the sound has definitely evolved a little bit since then. But I think it has a good skeleton, and I just have to kind of fill that out a little bit. So I'm hoping to. I have a creative partner that I work with a lot named Colin Cleaver, and he's actually the one who directed the Parasite music video and also the upcoming video for Animal. He played guitar and bass on Animal, so we've been really heavily involved working together. He used to be a guitarist in the band actually, but we are hopefully going to be working together again on re-recording some of those demos and making that concept album a reality. So that's probably the main focus, I think. Probably release a single here and there and just try to set up a tour. That's really the goal, I think. I think everybody's kind of itching to get out there.
Amazing, amazing. And your future focus on going on an international tour, how is it? How is that coming up?
Oh man. Uh, I would love to go on an international tour, definitely. No, that is one of the interesting things, I guess, about streaming is that you really get to see who's listening and where they're listening. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, the good thing is that we kind of have a list already of places, that would be good for us to go, and a lot of them are international. I was actually surprised. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be. Industrial is definitely big, bigger internationally than it is in the U.S. But um, yeah, no. So we had a lot of listeners in Germany and Portugal, surprisingly, and Spain, and so definitely love to do a tour there, and really anywhere that would have us. um, you know, I can't speak for the rest of the band in this sense, but for me, I'm kind of a workaholic, and performing and making music is really my only passion. So I would love to just go out on tour for like a year. So
Amazing.
hopefully, yeah.
Awesome. Sounds good. And would you like to share some of the great moments that has happened to you over the years?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think some of the best moments have just been making the music
Mm.
and kind of going from not really knowing what I'm doing at all, and not knowing how to, because I grew up with a background of like opera and musical theater. So in terms of singing, I should say. So, rock wasn't really in my wheelhouse. Metal wasn't really in my wheelhouse. Screaming was out of the question at the time. But again, it was, I'd always listened to heavy music. And so I always wanted to learn to do those things. I think I was just really intimidated. At first it feels really intimidating and like it'll never happen. Uh, so I think, yeah, some of the best moments have been just those personal breakthroughs for me, but also just finally getting the band together and feeling like I have a group of people that's really supportive and really wants to work toward the same goal and believes in the vision for the band. Um, because I think for me, and this is just a personal opinion, I think a lot of what music is missing today is like an aspect of danger and an aspect of, I guess, villainy might be the right word. And that's something I really appreciated about a lot of my favorite bands back in the day is they did bring an aspect of danger and they kind of acted as like the villains of the industry, I guess. Um, and so I think my goal personally is just to make music that feels dangerous again and also listenable and kind of just I don't know, I guess be a little bit of a wild card. so so to find people that also kind of believed in that vision, it took a while, but it felt really great to get them together, and that was definitely a highlight. And then just yeah, stepping on stage as a band for the first time was really, it felt like a really big deal. It was terrifying for me, at least. I'd performed in many other circumstances, but never as a front man of a metal band, and performing music that I had written. It's a little terrifying, kind of bearing your soul to everybody, but it's really rewarding in the end. So that was definitely a highlight. But yeah.
And who were some of the big influences who made you to do this amazing music?
Well, thank you for saying it's amazing. I appreciate that. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, so I guess I would say the biggest influences from the industrial metal world or just metal world are probably, it's a long list, but I'll try to just keep it short.
Yeah.
Definitely Nine Inch Nails would definitely
Yeah.
be at the very top. Of course, Marilyn Manson, um, probably Pantera, Slipknot. I listen to a lot of Tool.
Mhm.
God, there are so many. A more recent artist that I really like is Poppy. Um, I really like that she's kind of mixing genres so much because again, it kind of widens the audience. Um, who else is there? There's so many. Hole, I really like Hole, although that's more of like an alternative rock.
Yeah.
But I would say that they've definitely been an influence as well. Evanescence. Um, and I also listen to a lot of, film soundtracks and scores, which I think I tend to pull back from that sound a little bit, although I do compose that kind of music myself as well. I try to keep it separate from the music for the band. However, on Hemophilia, I kind of took the opportunity. It's, there's just very little bit of violin and that kind of thing on certain places and choir, but I try to take the opportunity and put some of that in there as well. So yeah, I'd say those are the biggest influences, certainly.
Amazing, amazing. And since you are into this sort of music and you are also, yeah, have an experience into the opera stuff, so do you have any plans to bring it all together and make something different in the future?
That's a good question. Honestly, I really don't know. Um, it's something that I've definitely thought about because I've talked about that with friends before, and they've said, "Oh, why don't you bring in these influences from your past?" And um, right now, it's not something I plan on doing, but I think in the future, maybe once I get bored of making the current style of music, I might, want to switch it up and spice it up a little bit with, some more theatrical stuff. Yeah. definitely. I don't know about opera. I don't know about it's been a while since I've done that, but we'll see. You never know.
Amazing, amazing. And Nicholas, finally, what would be the message that you want to give to the fans around the world?
Oh, the fans around the world. If you're out there, thank you so much for listening. You know, I really hope that the music resonates with you. And, you know, I really just want to, like I said, bring back that element of danger to music, which I feel has been missing somewhat. And I hope that you will be along for the ride. Yeah, that's it.
Wonderful, wonderful, Nicholas. And Nicholas, I want to thank you so much for giving me today this wonderful opportunity to have you on this interview. Real
Absolutely.
pleasure to
Thank you so
talk to
much.
you. And thank you for giving us amazing music, Hemophilia, this year on September 16th. We're all looking forward for the release and hope to see more music from you and a lot of great videos as well from you to entertain us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for
Nicholas.
having me.
My pleasure,
All
Nicholas.
right.
And you have a great evening out there. Take care of yourself.
You too. All right. You
Bye.
too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.